This is Intruder. It is a derivative of this second plane, Fulcrum. Intruder is named after the A6 Intruder. And as far for the paper airplane, as far as origami features, it has this change in wing sweep, which looks super nice. It's got a nose lock, and a very aerodynamic one at that. Flight characteristics are fast and heavy, and it doesn't track super straight. You really have to trim it out to get it to track. I found that instead of doing pinch elevators like this, it's better to just generally warp the entire wing up like I'm showing here. Unfortunately, this plane cannot really be folded with letter size, as I designed it in A4. So, A4 sheet of paper. And this is how you fold it. Start out by folding it in half. Now I hope my camera is centered enough in here, as I have a very awkward camera setup due to that's what I had on hand. All right, and I also have a very dusty workbench and a dog chewing on the bone in the background. All right, so after folding it in half, you fold a point. Just one point though. You open it up and unfold the point. You fold the leading edge down to the corner where the point intersects, which is actually showing up on camera way better than it is in person. That will be the first reference. Next, we fold the leading edge back to the new line. And then open it up, and this new crease to the halfway fold to this one. And then this line again to this new pinch crease. I know it's repetitive. And even more repetitive, if you fold it in half one more time so that it's this really tiny margin, that helps, although you can get away with the slightly bigger fold. But what that does is on here, that's determining how long this will be, and that little bit means that this edge stops just a little bit earlier, and it fits together a little bit better. It's a little bit less likely to rip, whereas if you leave it at this other pinch crease right there instead of this big line there, it doesn't quite fold as nice. Anyways, so this big wide crease here, that gets folded over. Then you fold points up to the folded over crease like that. It's important that these be standard 45-degree origami points, because the basis of the plane is based off 45 degrees. Then that's unfolded. Right, then this trailing edge here is going to get its edge folded up to where it meets that intersection. Like so. And then, similar to the front of the plane, this edge is going to get folded to that edge, although only a pinch crease, not a hard fold. flip it over, fold that pinch up to this line, flip it over again, fold up on the crease that went to that point, and the second pinch crease is just going to get pinched up like that. Unfolded, in this newest last pinch crease, the one directly above this big line, that one is going to get a full crease. I may be going a little fast. And then the previous line gets folded back down. This is where it bends back right there. Now, for some of the hardest single folds of this plane, fold this edge to this line, being careful to not crease over aft of this overlapping layer. So it's lined up right there. And then you smoothly push down until it meets that line, and then you pull this out, being careful not to rip it, which these layers are not coming out the nicest. It is really wants to rip there for whatever reason. So, I have no idea. I've never had that happen before. It's weird. Anyways, mine isn't quite sitting flat and smooth, but there we go. We've got one side folded. It's a very hard single fold, but other than that, now for the next step where we fold across there and let it sit flat to match for symmetry. And then this gets popped out and pivots just the same as the other side, being brought to match flush with the other side. Now, folding bone is not a necessity for this plane. It's just personal preference. Makes things a little bit easier though, although it does that for every plane. Right, now how we have this is gonna get folded up. And that's gonna make the center line here. Just crease that, flip it over, and repeat the same thing. And then we're left with this. You can see the final shape of the plane starting to come out. So then this gets flattened out. All right, that can just be folded back up into a point like that, and then that can get folded like that. Right, now for the wing fold, which to many may seem premature at this state in the plane, but it's a weird plane because it's for the locking mechanism. So fold that edge to there. Flip it over and repeat. Again, folding bone just helps, but it's not necessarily needed. Right, you can see the actual final wing design come out there. And you open it back up into this state. Now, this edge gets folded up to there. And I guess I should have mentioned at the start of the video, it's a fairly complicated plane, although there's far more complicated ones. Right, then those get unfolded and then tucked back in there. And sorry, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but my dad is currently sick, so he is really coughing a lot, and I mean, he's mostly lost his voice, and yeah. So anyway, sorry if the camera's picking that up, as I'm also filming this directly above the room that he is currently in. Right. So now that that's tucked back under there, plane gets folded up. This time, these layers will go along with the fuselage, and you'll probably have to press down here and just get them to sit right, because there's a little bit of tension coming from that bit there. Now, we're going to redo the wing fold. This time, including these triangles in there. Pushed that a little bit too much. May have trouble with the layers not wanting to fully seat back there, but with a little bit of pressure, it works. And I like to unfold it and repeat. This is basis of the locking mechanism. Well, really, the basis was a while ago. Right. Looks like that. If I had played with it more, I'd probably have come up with a super fun canard plane for this, because that would be really fun. But now we can see the point of why we did those folds I was pointing out earlier, as these layers, these triangular points, come out to be just ever so slightly further back of this V crease. Whereas if we hadn't done that, they'd come out to about where my fingernail is. Now, last thing before we fold the locking mechanism and finish the plane, it's best to fold the winglets while the plane is in this state. I personally think the small ones look the coolest. However, my guess is you could probably get a bit better performance if you made them slightly bigger. The plane would probably track a little bit straighter, and you'd also probably get a little bit more compression lift. Although that would also make it less of a dart and more of a glider, which, considering how small its wings are, may not be the best thing. All right. Got the canards, or not the canards, the winglets. Now for the locking mechanism. It's a pretty fun locking mechanism that I haven't really seen elsewhere. But, sorry, I'm skipping over steps, but the point gets folded over this edge, and you can do this on either side. It does not matter at all which side you do it, as besides this, the plane is 100% symmetrical. Then that gets folded up like that. and then you push that into there to crease it. Then this edge gets folded to there. That's a reference crease, so it gets unfolded, and then we fold that edge to the new crease, and then it gets folded back to the leading edge there. This will be repeated on the other side, but with some other stuff that we'll get to when we get there. Now for 1/2 of this locking mechanism, that gets slid into that pocket, and now this triangle gets wrapped the other way. I originally came up with this nose lock, I mean mainly because the plane fit it, but because I was inspired by some wraparound nose lock designs, but due to reasons I wanted it to be symmetrical, so I came up with the most symmetrical thing I could. Then this gets repeated there. Same thing, gets folded to halfway and folded up to there. Then gets pushed over, and this gets folded into that pocket. The little double crease helps it pop in just ever so slightly better, helps you roll it in. Oftentimes there will be a little bit of a kink right there. If I hold this up to the camera, you can see if I can get it to focus. Maybe not. Yeah. Either way, that will just help hold it in place. If you fold the layers a bit tighter, the locking mechanism comes out nicer. The more accurate and precise your folds are, the better everything will go. But that's Intruder. Like I said earlier, flies very fast, very heavy, medium range. Trimming it is probably better to just bend the trailing edge up rather than doing pinch elevators. And that's Intruder.